Yes, we are celebrating children in our own way. Sadly, we do not have any kids in the studio, but I did say that as long as you have your parents alive, you're a child, and happy Children's Day to you. But this morning, we're focusing on real children, the special category we call children, people who are well under the age of 18. I want to imagine that would be the definition. This morning, we are joined by the UNICEF country representative, Christian Munduate, in our studios here in Abuja. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation and for celebrating the Nigeria's Children's Day.
Indeed. I have been saying to everyone, happy Children's Day. So are your parents still alive?
No, unfortunately not.
You can take solace in the fact that you're a child of God. So.
Exactly, yes.
So happy Children's Day to you too.
Thank you so much.
While we say this, I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, Children's Day, what is this about really? Why is it important to celebrate children or to set a day aside to remember children?
I think it has two purposes. One, definitely, yes, to celebrate childhood, to celebrate children, to have a special day for them. And the other purpose is to remind all adults, each one, that, that we all have responsibilities and accountabilities for children, that we all play a role where, and if this role is not performed properly, then the ones who suffer are children. So this is, for me, this is the real connotation. It reminds us that there's so many things we are not doing that should be doing and that can be done for children.
And you certainly will be in a prime position to notice some of the things that we are not doing for children. As someone who is the country representative for Nigeria, for UNICEF, what are some of the things that we are currently failing at as adults, will certainly impact our children?
Yeah, so let us start on from the broader perspective. In a country like Nigeria, you have different stakeholders, and the main duty bearer of children in terms of a country definitely is the government, who should guarantee social basic services for children, to have health services, to have education, to support the means necessary so the children can be well nourished and can have nutrition, for example, and and opportunities where children can develop their skills as they grow. So that is one group of stakeholders. The other group of stakeholders is, so if you are not the government, then you are civil society, right? And inside the civil society, we have different actors. So we have private sector, for example, what is their role towards children in the society, how their investments are supporting the development of the country, but mainly the distribution of these surpluses so that children can have an opportunity in life, for example. The media, it's another stakeholder. How the media is providing information to different audiences, to different types of public, so that we all understand that there are so many pending issues for children, but this can be solved. This can, we can progressively solve them if everybody puts a little bit of their efforts towards solving different types of problems. We have religious leaders, we have traditional leaders. They really have a huge role at community level. I'm speaking about wards, about LGs, where they are the main figure, the respected personality, where they can, teach their people, show their communities what is the best way to raise their children with love, with care, with protection. but at the same time, they play a critical role in terms of demanding quality and quantity of services at those levels. You know, your ward, is your ward with a primary health care facility? Yes, no. Does it have the necessary staff to attend the children? Yes, no. Do you have a school? Is the school working? Why is it not working? You know, it doesn't have the infrastructure, the supplies. Well, if it has infrastructure and supplies, are teachers there teaching? All these are different roles that the society, meaning the people, you know, it's me as an individual. What can I do to support children so that they can have the right to live, to be well nourished, to education, etc., etc. So we are all responsible. It's not one group or the other. I think if everybody plays correctly, do correctly what they're supposed to be doing. If I am a public servant, am I doing well my work? Am I working the number of hours I should be working for children? You know, all these, as you build the blocks, will help to transform Nigeria, as a matter of fact.
So you have stated the people that bear responsibility and at the different levels that they do so. I'm sure that when you look at how children generally fare in Nigeria, the results would most likely be mixed. What are some of the areas you wish we were doing better or we would pay more attention to as a people?
Yeah, so the theme for the Nigeria's Children Day is tapping the untapped natural treasure. And I think these words have a lot of meaning. I think that people, you know, the people, they know what the reality is, and they definitely know how they can best contribute to narrowing these huge gaps that we have in the country. For example, education, we have many children out of school, yes, but we have also a learning challenge for those children who are already in school. So we need to, and this is part of what we do, by the way, we provide technical support at federal level, but also at state level, to the education system, so that teachers can be trained, that teachers can learn on new ways to teach more and better for children. But we also need to monitor more the performance. And this is another area where UNICEF in many countries around the world contribute a lot, so that who takes the decisions, who manages, can have all the information in their hands, so that the management and the leadership that it's under their responsibility can be done the best way possible. And I like to use simple examples, because this is the way we better understand. If I am a head of household and I don't know what is my budget, I really don't know, you know, what my family's members are doing, or how they are spending, or what they're doing with their times, definitely your home becomes a chaos, right? So this is, with this analogy, I want to say that we really need to be more focused on how we can do better for children at all levels and everybody.
Let me take this conversation to Lagos now to my colleague, Ayo.
Well, thank you, Mokwe. I was just looking at the president's statement, madam, and it was a reminder of a statement that was put out, you know, from the office presidents, from the presidency, about a recently launched report, action plan of sorts, where the president says that the federal government has launched a national action plan on Ending Violence Against Children. This was commissioned about 2 weeks ago. Um, and there are those who would argue that that's the first time. I remember growing up as a little boy, I remember that song that was sung for the International Year of the Child. You know, it was the very, very late 70s. And I'm just wondering, between then and now, and even in the 80s, a lot of songs were done to highlight the plight of the Nigerian child and all, and at that time. So I'm wondering, with this plan that the president has put in place, I want to believe that you probably were at that at the launch of that plan. Are you optimistic that indeed anything will change?
Well, I think that the worst thing that can happen and the last thing you need to do is to lose hope and align with, you know, the hope priority of the country. I think thinking about reducing violence against children it's very important. One of the most challenging issues in violence against children, to prevent violence against children, is that this is very much centered at times in cultural practices. So violence is about when you hit a child, when you abuse a child emotionally, when you abuse a child sexually, when you practice, for example, female genital mutilation, that is violence. It hurts. It hurts a person. So I think it's excellent to have a plan, and hopefully, I mean, the plan achieves all its milestones and all the results that it's been there, and definitely we will be supporting the national efforts towards ending violence against children.
You know, something that's very important that you just mentioned now is that this plan has to factor in culture. And it leads, and of course, culture is all about how the people live in any particular environment at any given point in time. Leading me to ask you this question. From your perspective and from what you know from all kinds of research and information available to you, do you think that parents, particularly in this climb, do you think parents understand the rights that their children have?
Well, not everybody really understands the rights of their children, but I will bring it to a very, again, basic rule of life. I have a right until I don't trespass the right of another human being. And for example, in terms of an adult, I would like to ask, how many adults would like to be violated? How many adults would like to be hit? How many adults would like to be raped? How many adults would like to be abused, like liking, right? So if we don't like these things for ourselves, then we shouldn't do it against children. And I think this is the basic of the concept of human rights. And the right of a child to be loved and to be cared is the right of any human being. There was a viral video that I saw some months ago. I don't know if you saw it. It happened in a natural reserve on an earthquake. I don't know if you saw it. And a group of elephants, as the earth was moving, the adult elephants surrounded the baby elephants in a circle, like protecting them. And this is nature, right? So for me, this was really something precious to understand, because in a society in a country, in a community, in a state, in an LGA, in a ward, the most vulnerable human beings that are living in those communities are the children. They are not yet equipped to protect themselves, to take care of themselves. They're vulnerable to different types of abuses. And this is something that we need to understand, and we need to speak with very, simple words, with very simple messages, using the day-to-day life on how we can best, raise the children of our communities. The other thing, and this is definitely important and true, violence brings more violence. If you are a child who have been abused, who have been violated, who have been victim of violence, as you grow, you will replicate that pattern. So it's kind of an endless, it's a vicious circle that it's important to break.
Now, you just led me to, you kind of preempted my next question, because we had a guest last week, Thursday, who was saying that, look, whatever we do to the children today, the fruit of it we will reap in another 30 years in society. And you've just spoken to the same thing now, that if we don't, treat children the way we ought to treat them, with respect, with their rights, with their everything, that we're going to reap the benefits in the future. But then, from what you are saying also, we have a chance, an opportunity to do it right now. Now, with this plan, maybe I should ask you, more, directly. Do you see a need to enforce the rights of the child? Their health rights, their education rights, their social rights, their economic life rights. Do you see a need for that kind of enforcement, particularly at the home level? Do you see the need?
Definitely. Definitely there is a need to be stronger in terms of guaranteeing the right, which is nothing else than to guarantee the opportunity for a child to health, nutrition, education, water, and sanitation, which are the basics that a child can receive. And I think when you say enforce, I don't know, I was thinking where there are different ways to enforce, but on one side you have the responsibilities and accountabilities that a government, where it's a Republican state or it is a federal state, like in Nigeria, at federal level and state level and LG level, like here in Nigeria, and there is an accountability there. And the way that the people also can guarantee to receive these services is by demanding these services. But on the other side of the coin, there is also a challenge that parents should know that they should have their children in school. There are many girls, like millions of girls, that do not have the opportunity to go to school. And this is mainly because of beliefs that a girl doesn't need education, that she is best placed in the kitchen, that she was born to get married and have children. And I must say, evidence shows that if a girl has the opportunity to go to school, as she grows, she also can be, an active economic actor in her household, but also can be equipped to nourish and to take care of her children better. She will learn to know better on how to raise them. So looking at girls' education as something that it's not important, I think there should be a strong call on this, that this is totally wrong.
So how would you say that UNICEF is then helping rural and also vulnerable children?
Well, UNICEF does different types of support. So the most left behind communities, we contribute, for example, among others, but we start by providing supplies. We do technical support to the state social services systems. We train community leaders. We work hand by hand with religious and local leaders as well, and we support them, and we give them, I wouldn't say training, but the necessary information so that they can understand why all this is really and very important. We work with parents, for example, on best practices, how to feed your child. You know, there are, for example, many beliefs that a child cannot be breastfed. And this is the best gift of life and love that a mother can give to its children. 6 months of exclusive breastfeeding and then complementary feeding. So we do that. We provide resources like financial resources, but also equipment. And as one of the UNICEF best assets is our technical knowledge, which is at the service of Nigeria.
So let me ask you then, as we wrap up then, what would you be telling the children of Nigeria today?
I would be telling the children of Nigeria is to have dreams, to always have this spirit of going and moving ahead. For those children who can have the opportunity to speak with their parents and to express their thoughts, then also to share with their parents, you know, how to be more, to express more solidarity in their communities, in their neighborhoods, in their cities, towards other children who doesn't have the opportunity that they have. Unfortunately, for a child who has so many deprivations, asking the child to be happy in the Children's Day, it's kind of a bit ironic. But children, they by nature are full of love and full of happiness. You know, once I heard an elder person in my home country, in my community, saying, "Oh, you know, but these children are so bad," and I say, "Sorry, there's not one human being that is born bad. It is society who transforms human beings." And this is what I want to say. Children are full of love. Children want to receive love. And children are happy and want to be happy.
Indeed, and so we'll do everything in our power today, you know, to make sure that our children, Nigerian children, are happy. We have to thank you very much for coming on the program this morning. Christian Munduate is the UNICEF country representative speaking to us here in our Abuja studios. So we'll certainly catch up with you much later. Thank you once more for coming on the program.